worked a stable corporate job for 17 years, and I had a steady paycheck, benefits, security, everything that comes along with a corporate position, and I was making close to six figures. But I still walked away, and what happened next is something that I wish someone would have warned me about. If you're thinking about leaving your corporate job because you want more freedom, more time, or just, want to work remotely, then this video could save you years of stress and financial pain. Free to be Rita here, where we're tuned in, turned on, and tapped in. Let's get into the vortex. My name is Rita. I worked for Columbia Gas of Ohio for 17 years and left my corporate job, sold my home, moved halfway across the country, like 18 hours from Ohio to Texas. And I totally rebuilt my life working remotely as a real estate agent. In 2020, at the height of the pandemic, is what I like to say. But like many families who kind of relocated during this mass relocation time, we sold our home as well and packed up our lives and just totally moved across the country. And my husband, our two children, the whole family. And so today I'm going to be sharing a real conversation, what I wish that someone would have told me before I left my 17-year corporate job. Now, on paper, leaving corporate sounded amazing. I had thought about this for years. I mean, many years. I started out very young in Columbia Gas, and I thought that, and trust me, Columbia Gas took care of my family. It done so many amazing things. But during that time in 2020, during the pandemic, I just felt like my spirit telling me, now is the time, now is your time to have your exit strategy, because I had wanted to work from home forever. And this was the first time where our company made it mandatory to have to work from home. And so during that year of working from home, it was actually the first time that I ever was home with my children, with my family since they were little. I mean, my son was going to daycare 2 months old. That's how long I've been working at Columbia Gas. And so I knew that I wanted to build something not only for my family, but I wanted to have more time with my family. And I wanted to be able to have more control over my time. And, it just sounded like that was the time to do it. Sell your house, leave your, move and go ahead and let your company know and everything like that. So that was the message that I had. That was the message to take that step of faith and leave my hometown. And what I did not fully understand or anticipate was really losing that stability that I had. And so I went from knowing, exactly what I had coming in, getting paid every 2 weeks. You have that security, that little security blanket, which is a paycheck. And I mean, I went from knowing exactly what I was going to have coming in, almost six figures, to not knowing when I was going to have income or when that next check was going to come in. But the good part is freedom. The freedom to be able to work from home, work in my home office now, even in a space that I create, nothing crazy, just something basic where I can work remotely, and I don't sit in the office all day. I have sold over 50 homes in the last 5 years, so I've helped so many amazing families, and there is so many days where I just look back at everything and I look around and I truly am grateful that I did take this leap of faith. Now, if you do appreciate honest conversations like this and not all the hype, well, go ahead and like this video or subscribe, and that tells the algorithm to share this video with people who actually care and need it. And so, yeah, so the bad part is the inconsistent income, the self-doubt. I mean, doing something brand new, you may even have some imposter syndrome. And just realizing that freedom doesn't come free. And I always look at the word freedom because it has like a dome over it. But what we really want to do is kick that dome off and just totally get into our just being free. And that's why I always love Free to Be Rita, because that the ugly truth is that I want to be very clear and transparent about this. Even with me having sold my home, having over 6 figures in savings when we moved to Texas, like I said, selling our home and also having retirement funds, I still underestimated how long it would take me to see a real return in real estate once I started a whole brand new occupation. And even though this year I sold 15 homes alone, this year I've sold 15 homes, and still I basically broke even. And it's not because, I look at that like, wow, you sold 15 homes. That means I've helped over 15 families. So I look at that as a success, and it's not a failure. But the reason that I broke even is because the cost to be a realtor. So if you're brand new to a location and you don't have people that most real estate businesses done on referral and people that and it takes time to build up that clientele. And until you do that, you may be having to pay higher fees to get leads and things like that. That is a huge expense. The startup cost of the business, the equipment for your business, signage, just paying to be into the CRM system here is called HAR, Houston Association of Realtors. That costs money as well. I could even do a whole nother topic on that information. But all these costs add up quickly. And so what I had experienced was really just having enough to survive and not really thrive like I was looking to do. And so that doesn't really make you feel secure. And I never in my life had felt like this before because I've been working since I was 14 years old. And so I always had that security blanket of a paycheck. And so people, you'll hear on social media all the time, you'll hear people saying, quit your job, just leave, go to this new place and start fresh. That is all gravy. But when people say just save money and you'll be fine, I would say that savings alone is not a plan. So savings alone are not a plan. But if you are currently stuck in your job and you are dreaming about getting out of that cubicle, getting out of that routine, I know for me, I drove downtown for many years, 12 years straight before I moved to another location. And so if you're dreaming about just being free, then go ahead and comment free below so that I know that you are here. Okay. And another hard lesson that I learned came from my housing situation, because we had built our home brand new in Ohio, and we lived there for about 8 years. We sold our home in Ohio and moved to Texas during one of the most competitive housing markets ever. And that's because interest rates were super low at that time. I mean, interest rates were around 2 to 3%. And so that means a lot of competition. Inventory is tight, and we just couldn't win a bid on a resale home. I didn't really know the area, never been to Texas in my life. and just trying to move off of, like, you watching videos and content and trying to find someone to be able to help me and educate me. And I was not a realtor at that time. So looking back on that, I wish I would have had the right guidance. And that's kind of why I became a realtor in the first place, because all of the things that I learned and went through with purchasing my own home and just my experiences with home ownership and being a investor as a young person, purchasing homes and landlord and things like that. Looking back, I wish I would have had the right guidance. So that's a nugget that I'm leaving for you here, is having the right guidance when you relocate. It's very important to have the right real estate agent who has your best interest, who listens to you, and who is going to be able to educate you on the big picture. And so had I had that guidance, someone could have told me, hey, let's look into new construction. You can get a move-in ready home with a very low interest rate and zero competition and great incentives. So had I known that, that's one thing that I would have done differently, is I would have bought a new construction home instead of renting, because we could not find a home, a resale home. We ended up feeling like we had no other option but to try to find a house to rent. And so we ended up renting a home because it was like out of desperation. I mean, we were living in a hotel. That's a whole nother video, but it felt like the safe option at the time. It felt like the best option at the time and the only option. But long term, it cost us equity. When you purchase a home, you build up equity in the home. Like when we sold our home in Ohio, that's why we had so much equity. We moved here to be able to kind of start a new life, which gives you stability and opportunity. And so, this is why I tell people now, decisions made during this transition time, they really matter. And they matter more than what you think. So if I had to do it again, if we had to do it all over again, I would have at least 2 years of income saved, ideally more, especially with everything getting more expensive these days. And if I could do it over again, I would not leave my corporate job with at least a couple things. 1, 2 years of income saved, and ideally even more than that. And also a secondary stream of income that is already producing you income. Or even better, a job lined up where you're relocating from to fund your secondary business. So even if that's something remotely, but get that new position secured before moving, even if you have 2 years of savings. And I would not make a major housing decision without a long-term strategy in place. So, and ideally a 3 to 5 year strategy in place for the new location. And just learning that freedom is real. So being free is real, but it does require preparation, patience, prayer, a lot of prayer. Y'all, a lot of prayer. And humility when things don't go right. Don't look at it as you're a failure and everything is over. Look at it as a lesson. And that's going to keep you humble. And so if this video helped you, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. It really, helps the channel. It's going to help people that need to hear this message, to get out to them. And go ahead and subscribe if you want honest advice about, leaving corporate, working remotely without all the hype and false promises. And then in my next video, I'm going to share with you what nobody tells you about leaving a stable corporate job and the mistake that most people make. So no hype over here, guys, just real talking about being free, real freedom. And I look forward to seeing you in the next one. Thank you so much for watching, and cheers. Buenas tardes.